Hi, I'm Etna from Etna's by the Sea, and I'm doing Home Cooking 2020. This has been organised by SICAP, which is the Social Inclusion Community Activation Fund. It's run by Sligo Leader Partnership and funded by the Irish Government and co-funded by the European Social Fund. We hope you enjoy this recipe. It's garlic and chili pesto. We're going to use wild garlic, which we have here. Grows wild in a lot of woodland, and just be careful when you're picking it that there's no animals or dogs or anything in the area, and give it a good wash, especially down near the stems. Just get rid of any of the earth. And in this recipe I use the root as well, but obviously you don't have to be digging up the roots, so you can leave it without the root if you like. I have some lovely parsley and some fresh coriander, and I'm also going to use a little bit of dried coriander and cumin. I'm going to include some chili, and this chili I have just taken out of the freezer because sometimes I buy a packet of chili and there's too many that I want on that one day, and then they just go off. So I freeze them, and when I want them I take them out, and you can actually just cut as much as you want from frozen. So I'm using the seeds and everything because I do want a little bit of heat in with my chili and in my pesto. I'm also going to use whole garlic, and if you don't want it, remember that this is wild garlic, it's quite flavoursome, so if you don't want it so garlicky, you can leave out a little piece of garlic as well. So I'm going to use the processor, so all you have to do is roughly chop these. You don't need to. And I'm using flowers, roots, stems, leaves, everything, okay? The same for the parsley. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a rough chop, and then the rest I can put in. So I'm going to bring my processor over here so you can see it. So this isn't a very fancy one, it's just a little small one. I find sometimes the smaller ones are handy because in a house you're not going to make huge big quantities of things. So it's a little Kenwood, and I'm going to put all my ingredients in there. I'm going to add my cumin and coriander, and the rest of my parsley and coriander. A little bit of each, I don't think I need it all. And for this recipe I have some nice Maldon sea salt, so it helps to bring out the flavour, but just be careful with it. Put in a little bit, you can always add more later. You don't want to over salt it. So we have our Maldon sea salt gone in, everything is in, and now we're going to use some oil. So you can use a mixture of oils. Obviously the rapeseed oil and the olive oil are more expensive. There are delicious flavours in that. So I tend to use maybe about a quarter of the sunflower oil and the 3/4 of a mixture of the oils. So you can use a mixture, or you can just use one or the other. I like the double rapeseed oil, so I'm going to use 3/4 of that. So it's about 200 ml or less of oil. I'm not weighing it or measuring it, I'm just doing it by feel. I'm going to whiz this up a little bit, and if I think it needs more oil, I'm just going to put it in. So just put enough oil in just to give it a start, and then if you like and you think it needs more oil, put more in. You want it quite a thick consistency, you don't want too much oil, you want it all blended together, kind of oil and herbs. So here's one that we have made earlier. I'm just going to leave the machine there to do that. So we finished this one earlier so that you wouldn't be watching me whizzing away. So this is well mixed. It's got a delicious looking colour. We eat with our eyes, so it's really nice. Most important thing obviously as well is to give it a taste. but it will take a little time for the flavours to blend in together, and it'll even change over time and get stronger. So be aware of that when you're seasoning it. So if you have some spare jars left over in the house from jam or anything else, even a small little jar like this is lovely to fill up and to give somebody a little present. You don't want to give away too much of your delicious produce. If you like, then just as you filled the jar, just give a little top up of oil to make a seal around the top. Now, and then close it. So that oil will seal the pesto, and it will keep for up to a week in the fridge, even longer if you're careful. If you're using a spoon to take it out, don't use a spoon that you've licked obviously or put into other foods. Just use a clean spoon so you're not going to contaminate the pesto. And it'll keep very well, and as I said, it makes a lovely little present. So keep it in a jar covered with a tiny little bit of oil, and if you find that the oil is integrating and you need more to keep a seal on the top, just add another little bit of oil on. Okay, thanks, I hope you enjoy.